Hello, crypto world! Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. In this video, I'm going to talk about the DXY, what I believe it's doing. Now, this is not crypto, but it does affect crypto. The DXY, or the dollar index, has an effect on crypto. Generally speaking, the lower the DXY goes, the better it is for crypto. So what is going on this chart? Well, to understand what's taking place on today's chart, we need to zoom out and examine the macro structure that's taking place on the DXY. Okay, so here is a zoomed out picture. I'm on a week candle. Now, I'd like to bring your attention to this box over here that takes place from 1985 to 2002. So if we are to copy this fractal right here, or this part of the chart, and paste it over here, it would look something like this. Now, it's not going to look exactly like this because I had to adjust it to the timing, height, and depth over here. The reason why I had to do that is because whenever a fractal repeats, the timing, height, and depth, that's going to be original or unique to that new iteration. So the basic idea copies over, but how high it plays out, how long it takes to unfold, how low it goes, all that is going to be unique to that new iteration. So this basic fractal or structure over here has a few basic parts to it. It has the decline. We see that take place over here. This decline was much shallower than this one. It has this bounce, which brings it to a new low. We see that over here. We see this wave that consists basically of two smaller waves. We see that over here. After that is a larger wave. Now on the chart over here, it did not take place with the same height or depth that this one took place, but it does what it's supposed to do. It's a wave. After this, it moves up into this part of the chart, this wave over here, which we see take place over here. It was a much larger wave that takes place on the chart over here. We have the next wave, which is quite small on this chart, but on this part of the chart, it unfolded in a much larger amount of time and it was much bigger. This move from this wave to this part right here is this. Now, once again, the timing, height, and depth is playing out uniquely on this part of the chart. The basic idea is unfolding, though. So we are now at the peak, and here is something important to understand about peaks. Peaks are kind of the Wild West. They're unpredictable in many ways. What I mean by that, even if this structure continues to unfold, the way it can play out, in other words, this wave right here, which is my belief is this right here, is clearly not as high as this one. So this part actually moved up really high on the chart over here. These parts are not nearly as high. Now, I would not assume that it's all going to play out at this scale. If we look over here, which would be considered recent history, now recent history can offer clues as to what might take place on today's chart. However, the thing about it is it can follow it really well and then just stop following it. So it's sort of an unpredictable guide, but at times it's an excellent guide. This could potentially be a clue as to what this could do. In other words, these peaks that have not materialized, they could be much larger. Let's zoom in here and get a closer look at what this is doing on a smaller time frame. Okay, so here we are on a 4-hour time frame. Now, you can see how this fractal does match pretty well. Once again, I've had to match it to the current timing, height, and depth. Here we are zoomed in a little closer. So we are experiencing this bounce right here on the fractal coming from the peak. Now, I don't know if this is going to stop here or if it's going to continue to move down lower. That is a possibility. Eventually, I would start looking for something like this to take place. Now, like I was pointing out before, the way these structures play out at the peak is really hard to predict. So this, for instance, could be really large, or it could be just like this, or it could be smaller. We don't know. Same with the depth here. We don't know, but this could serve as a overall guide of what we could potentially be doing. Now, I am going to complicate things and show you another structure. So if we look at this peak that took place in 1985, if we were to copy and paste it over here and adjust it for the timing, height, and depth on today's chart, it would look something like this. Let's zoom in a little closer. So here we are zoomed in to where we are today. Now, this move down is really accomplishing this wave or this bounce. This move up is another possibility. In other words, this peak could play out something like this as well. I'm going to zoom back out. Now I want to point something else out. The basic repetitive theme that we see taking place here is that it starts at a point, it then declines, comes to a trough, and then moves up. We see this continue to play out over and over again on the chart. There's another thing that you should be aware of. Every time it comes to a peak, it makes a lower high. So we go higher than this, but so far that is a trend. Now, will it continue to play out? That's yet to be seen, but it is something worth noting. In other words, this right here could be a potential high point. We'll have to see, once again, how this ends up playing out, but that is a possibility. Another thing to make note of is that it's also making lower lows. So we see another low here compared to here, and this one is lower than here. When this declines, we should expect this decline to also make a new low. Now, this is on a big, slow-moving time frame, so it's going to take a while, likely, for this peak to play out, but the DXY at some point is going to go through another one of these declines. How it looks, we'll have to see once it takes place. We are not there yet, but it is likely going to be a substantial decline. So here we are zoomed in on today's chart. This movement lower is great for crypto. We should be prepared for a counter move, something like this, to take place. I don't know how high this will go. It also could continue dropping before it starts working out this part of the structure. Let's clean this chart up. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. If you did find this video interesting, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. And if you like this content and you're not a subscriber yet, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. I'll continue to follow up on this chart. You know, the DXY has been a challenging chart as it's gotten to this peak. It's throwing some curveballs. I thought it was going to move up higher. It hasn't. The timing, height, and depth is really not something I can predict, although putting those fractals on there can suggest the potential movement, but it doesn't mean it's going to play out in that scale. So just be prepared for curveballs. Well, I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.